Your secrets, if you really look at yourself, you would be speechless. What happened to being doctors and teachers? What happened to being your brother's keeper? Nowadays, kids more.
Oh, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Mr.BandClap, and we in the building with another podcast, y'all. Special one today. I got Hood Mystic, like I told you. So, we got a lot to talk about, y'all. This was a real good interview. I'm real glad that the brother was able to stop by and let me interview him and, have this conversation. All right, y'all. So, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Alright, y'all, we back. BandClap TV podcast, man. You already know. And I got a special guest here today. My homeboy Hood Mystic.
Peace. What's up, peoples? What's cracking?
So, this was super random. I mean, the way
Right.
I met this dude. and the thing about it is, like, when it comes to me doing my podcast and stuff like that, all the people that inspire me, like, I reach out to everybody, like, everyone that I vibe with, especially with the stuff that I'm saying and then the stuff that they're saying and all that. And I remember, I think I was looking at like a Young Pharaoh video or something, and your video came in the suggested side.
That's
and I clicked on it, and I'm like, yo, like, you was like one of the only other people talking about the Orishas. Like younger people that's talking about the Orishas.
Real.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, that's dope. And you was one of the only people that I hit up, and you actually hit me back. And I was like,
No doubt.
damn,
No
okay.
doubt.
And pretty quickly too. And I'm like, all right, that's what's up. And it's like, as soon as we linked up, got on the phone, that first conversation, I'm like, yeah, I gotta work with this dude.
For sure.
So, fast forward to now we on the podcast, got you on the podcast.
And before we end the video, remind me of a story relating to that, because it was all synchronicity to when you even hit me up. Like,
for real?
Yeah, for real. Because I don't know if you want to get into this. It's a quick story anyway. So
okay, go ahead.
I was doing a video where I was talking about the old ones and Kimbanda and all of that, and just talking about the ancestors. And then so I went to the post office to deliver a package just up to a friend, and it was this old man, dark skin, but he was speaking Spanish, but nobody could translate the Spanish. But in my studies, I have to learn Spanish because I study a lot of Santeria and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I picked up on what the old man was saying. He was saying Jacksonville. But I was already like, and he wrote down Jacksonville or whatever. So I was like, well, it's going to be a sign pointing me towards Florida. And like the day after you hit up and you had let me know you was from Florida, I was just like, okay. But it wasn't just you. It was like a whole gang of people from Florida just started hitting up for readings and stuff. So it's like, me and my family, we're going to go down there for vacation, definitely check you out and just really see what it's about. And like, I'm thinking of relocating down there. I'm just like, but it was just a strong urge from Florida, but you really set the tone. And then from there, a whole bunch of people been hitting me up from Florida. So, that's just another way that the ancestors, they really speak through people, and it happens every day, but we just never take note. You know what I'm saying? Especially the elders, always got them Jews for us. But that was a quick story going on for what you was talking about. But
hell yeah.
But much respect. The respect is mutual because your page got a lot of gems on it. But when you speak in truth, it's not popular. Remember that.
Exactly. Sometimes I'll be like, man, do I really want to do this? Like,
yeah,
I feel my shit be having like 20, 30 views.
Yeah.
But when I post something like a DJ mix or something that like got like popular music in it, it blows up.
Yeah. But you gotta keep sticking with it because I got over 180 videos on YouTube, and some of my videos to this day got 10 views, and some of my videos got 30,000 views. You know what I'm saying? So it's just more of you just It ain't about the views. You know what I'm saying? That was the message from the ancestor, because I was like always concerned about views and stuff like that. But that was a channel from George Washington Carver. He came through. He gave me a nice strong talking to, but he was telling me how you focus on speaking the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. If you don't get one view, just keep speaking the truth. And so that's what I do. And so I'm happy with it. I don't even pay attention to the views, but when I do, I'll be like, damn, that's it. I check a video like, damn, that's a lot of views. But you know, it ain't about that. It's just really because we got this platform, bro. We have an opportunity, you know, just like Bobby Hemmitt when he was doing his videos. They wasn't popular at the time. You feel me? Years later, they got popular. So we doing the right thing, bro.
And the crazy part about it is all the stuff that Bobby Hemmitt was talking about in the 90s
came to pass.
It seems like he's still talking in 2018.
Hey man,
it's like when I listen to his stuff in the 90s, like I have to remember that this stuff is old. Because if I don't, I'm thinking that he made a brand new video
you ain't lying.
in 2018.
You ain't lying.
I'm like, yeah, and even some of the stuff that he talks about as far as like different things you can buy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember he was talking about it back in the 90s, how expensive it was. But now in the in 2018, a lot of that stuff is very easy to get now.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So
information, because you got to remember his shit was before the internet.
Yeah.
So now you can listen to a Bobby Hemmitt lecture and word for word you can back up everything that he's saying.
Exactly.
For true. That's what I do. You know, I'll pause it, look it up, you know, and his suggestions on shit that you can do spiritually, that shit work, man. Like I'm on the way right now thanks to Bobby Hemmitt. Like these unisoms,
bruh, them things are the truth. Them things are the truth. That
Bobby Hemmitt,
the stuff that he talk about with the elixirs and that's some stuff that I want to talk about too. About some stuff that Bobby Hemmitt was talking about, especially when it comes to female nature and going back to that.
Apollonia.
Yeah. He was talking about a lot of stuff with that too.
Yeah.
And
you can start a school around Bobby Hemmitt videos if you really wanted to. We do commentary on his videos and really expound on his ideas because, man, he is our Einstein. He is our Copernicus. He is our Aristotle. You understand? He is like, you know, ancestors. Like if it's meant for me to have millions and billions of dollars, like a Bobby Hemmitt statue is coming in Atlanta. Like whatever I gotta do. You understand? Because I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for that man. And just like his the things that he have left behind, the people that he's influenced, you know, to speak, you know, from Brother Panic to Duke Tears, you know, so Phil Valentine, all of those dudes, like, it's just amazing, you know, because they wasn't doing it for YouTube. They wasn't doing it for the gram. we just lucked into that, man. That we was fortunate, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of these are, you know, ancient ancestors and maybe even Orishas coming back in this day and time to reteach us the stuff that we used to know back then. Because it's like some stuff that you hear, you don't even gotta research it. It's like your mind just automatically just know, like, yeah, that's right. Like your soul is like, yeah, that's right. I know that's right. I can feel that.
Just simply remembering. You understand? Like we not learning nothing. We know everything. See, that's the, like, we so powerful, bro. Like, I don't know if you got to watch that Avengers, but man, watch that Avengers, man. Like, we gonna have to break that down. We gonna have to.
Yeah, I was gonna say no spoiler right now.
We gonna have to talk about that. Talk about that, bro. That was, man. But yeah, as far as our minds, man, I ain't spoiling the movie, but I'm gonna just say that movie. I left that movie realizing that my mind is powerful. Your mind is powerful. We have to use it. And so what we're doing, man, like the work that we're doing is so monumental because we are restoring the minds of the ancient fucking gods, man. We are gods. Like we just forgot. We forgot that we are gods, man. And so we got to have these conversations because if we had these human talks.
And I like that. I like when you said that we forgot that we are gods. and segueing back into topic,
For sure.
because I know that you got a chance to check out my podcast. Shout out to you and Ron Wills. Ron Wills, he actually hit me up
Oh, that's
because his video about the imprint was how I got my inspiration to make that. But I wanted to take a more spiritual and a more universal approach to it, to kind of add some more to it and add some more examples of it in our spirituality, because like I was saying back in the Shango and his 3 wives video, a lot of this stuff, when it comes to game, when it just comes to the stuff that you would learn on the streets, a lot of these Paktis and old Orisha stories and stuff like that talks about this kind of stuff.
It put you right in you don't even need no book or nothing. You just learn like instantly. Them stories are so relatable, for sure.
Exactly.
It's messy. Yeah. It's better than any reality show, Love and Hip Hop.
I was about to say that. Man, when I first started looking at the Orisha stories, especially the love triangle between Oshun and Obanani and Shango and all of this, I'm like, golly, man, this is like Love and Hip Hop.
It's messy.
But the thing about it is, I like it because at the end it teaches you a lesson.
For sure.
And this is another thing, because the difference between this and say Christianity or something like that is because, number one, I didn't grow up in this, which is a good thing, because I can look at it from the outside in a more holistic standpoint. Like, I know at the end of the day, Oshun wasn't a real woman that walked the earth. I know that she represents an essence, which is different from, say, Christianity or something like that, where we forgot that those people that was in the Bible, they were more like avatars. They were more like essences, that for us to remember what the essence is, we have to put it in a form that we can physically see, like a person, and give that person a character, give that person a backstory, give that person a path, a mission, stuff like that, so that we can remember later on in the generations and things like that. And that's what I respect about the Orishas and stuff like that, because you got the Paktis, but then you can just take each Orisha and you can look at it from an energetic standpoint, and you can see how Oshun correlates with Isis, correlates with
Venus,
Urzuli, Kuan Yin, and you can correlate the energies, which is the most important part.
That's what I do with my channel, man. That's really what I do with the astrology. Like, I relate it. Like, I'll start one place and then I'll be somewhere in Orisha telling the story, and then from Orisha's telling the story, I'm back to the astrology. You understand? So you don't even know how I done told the whole story in the stars and related it to Orishas, and you would never even realize what I just did, because it's all one and the same. You understand? And it's just the African personification of energies, which makes it more relatable to you and your personality. Now, if we're dealing with a European personification, then that means, like, a African barbecue is the same as a European barbecue. No, them things is
two
two
different things. The chicken ain't seasoned.
So we gonna have to worship differently.
Gonna have some rib and mayonnaise sandwiches.
If we are social different, then we gonna have to have our different personifications, and so that's where we mess up with the Bible. Not to say that the archetypes aren't fundamentally African, but the folklore around it is European. So in your mind, when you see Moses, you don't see an African. You see that European that was split in the Red Sea when you was a little kid, or them, Bible school pamphlets, and they say this is a picture of Moses. So your first imprint, like you say, and your first imprint is that of a European. Your first imprint of Jesus is that of a European, unless it wasn't. So we have to be very, very mindful about the energy. So what I did with astrology, because I know that studying astrology is just words. You understand? Roman words. So I know even Roman, you don't know that they African because of the sculptures. So even in your mind, when you say Venus, when you say Jupiter, when you say Aries, your archetype, you don't. That's why astrology ain't really interesting for us, because when to people talk about it, they using European
Exactly.
archetypes. So it's important for me to incorporate the same art, because I'm saying that our ancestors were saying the same exact thing. We was just doing it our way. So I'm just bringing back our way. So it's important that we get a mind frame first, because if we think that everything astrologically is ruled by Europeans, because our first understanding of an astrologer was like some lady TV screen or whatever the case may be. But no, this is our ancient science, and it talks about it in Orishas. It talks about it in wherever you go, in the Vedic religions and things of that nature, even the Nordic religions and the Celtic religions. All of it is talking about one thing. You understand? It's just different areas, different pockets. So just expanding and just taking it back to original source, man, is very powerful, because it makes sense. You understand? And that's all we're trying to do with metaphysics and all of these different sciences. The thing of it is people think that they're complicated or that they're not theirs, but they're not complicated, and it's your science. You created it. You know, it's time to reclaim it. You just need to understand it. So
Now, I remember the video that you put out about the divine feminine, as well as about the feminine energy being a dark energy and all of that. And I remember that when a lot of people looked at the podcast that I did, especially the guys, they really understood about that when it came to me talking about the woman's imprint and things like that. And we're still talking about that childlike, dark, that's what the divine feminine energy is about. Now, going back on that, when we bring up Yemen Yah, which is the great mother goddess, and then you have, like I was saying in my podcast, shout out to Young Pharaoh, you have a lot of people now that is talking about how the black woman is God and all of that. And when I see black women actually starting to post this on their Facebook and on their Instagram, you know, talking about the black woman is God and we need to bring back the matriarch and all of that. And I'm seeing a lot of men that if things were different, you know that secretly they believe that too. But looking at how black women, not as a whole, but a lot of the black women that they show in the media and things like that, the way that they act, it doesn't correlate with, say, Yemen Yah. You got the black woman saying, yeah,
no doubt,
black woman is God.
or doesn't. That's my question to you. Because in the episode, they had a preview for Incredibles at the movie today, and they had like, it's a black character in Incredibles. And, the last, you know how like the credit, like the previews be or whatever, and then the last scene of the previews, like the dude called him like, we need your help. So the dude going to get his uniform on, and his wife in the background like, where are you going? He's like, I'm about to go save the day. She's like, you ain't about to go save nothing. And then it just cut off real.
Exactly.
I was like, why did they do that? No, but listen, man, the black women in my life are sweet. They're not angry. They're loving. They're compassionate. You know, I don't argue with women. But when I was at a vibrational level, when I was had turmoil inside of me, the women that I attracted had turmoil inside of them, and I brought it out of them or they brought it out of me, but that shit wasn't never working out because I wasn't never working out. I didn't have nothing to give these women. I was just trying to use them for money, sex, they car. You understand what I'm saying? So of course you're gonna be mad at me if I'm using her. You understand what I'm saying? At some level, one way or another. But you know, I did the self-work. I became a better man. I attracted better women. You know, that stereotype is reflective of your inner toil. The thing about black women, they call it like they see it. This world is fucked up. And the only person that's letting you know that this world is fucked up is the black woman. Pay attention to her. Listen to her. Listen to what she's saying. And if you ain't got no malice in your heart, you can give her some advice or some wisdom. And if she don't receive it, then hey, you said you planting the seed. Don't proposition her for sex. Proposition her for something sex. Bro, show her something different. You don't think that a black woman would be receptive to you taking her out to a park and have a picnic? Black women are amazing, man. The black woman is God, in my opinion. But if I'm messed up on the inside, then the black woman is going to be right on my ass, letting me know you're not on your stuff. You're not doing the best you can be right now. You know, she's not going to let me live an easy life. You understand? If you looking for that, that's why so many men cross over, because they want to live an easy life. They don't want that feminine energy correcting them. Feminine energy teaches you, I am who I am today because of feminine energy. Point blank, period. Like, when we ever needed something in life, can we count on men growing up? Or could we count on
now
the
with
feminine?
me, I'm a little bit more balanced when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm. But what about your friends?
You said what about my friends?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest, bro. I mean, the majority of us don't have that male influence growing up, and it has affected us negatively.
Yeah, because I know with me, like what I was saying in my podcast, I agree with the saying about it takes a village to raise a child, because I say in my podcast all the time that I grew up in a very Christian like household. Until I got older, it was a lot of stuff that I was late on, a lot of stuff that I wasn't able to do. And the thing about it was, you know, I'm really thankful and I'm really grateful that did have a mom and dad, you know, that lived in the same house, that loved me and all of that. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say that everything was just gumdrops and rainbows.
That's
because
important.
It wasn't. You know, it was a lot of crazy stuff going on too. But
no, right.
I remember how my dad used to drill this into me when I was little, because, you know, where I'm from now, you did have a lot of you know, people that came from single parent households, but in the 90s it was starting a lot, but it wasn't really, well, you still had a good amount of children that had both parents in the household. And I remember how my dad used to tell me, you better be glad you're not like these other people out here, that you got a mom and a dad in the same house that love you. And I really didn't realize how important that and how pivotal that really is until I got older and I became an adult. And I'm seeing a lot of these people that's out here now, how it's an unbalance in a way.
Man, if you got one foot, you was gonna live.
Yeah.
But you gonna be, I mean, you can't walk normal. If you got one arm, you gonna live, but you just got one arm, so you're gonna be limited. So we are psychologically limited as a people based on the fact or the idea that a woman can raise a child by herself. Like,
yeah,
it's okay. It shouldn't be normalized. It shouldn't be something that's like you should recognize it as like a psychological imbalance that, like you said.
One thing that I remember looking at a video that Brother Rich just put out not too long ago, when he was talking about the whole thing about how with a son, it is pivotal for the father to be in his life. But if he had older men who were up on game, thorough with theirs, and who want to see that child be successful, if you put a lot of men like that around him, he'll be good. Now,
yeah, that's what it takes a village.
Now the thing about a daughter, or raising a daughter, I feel like the father is damn near the most important in her life, because I was always taught that as a father, you're going to be that staple to what she should look for in a man. And that's one thing that I'm seeing a lot of these women that are raised up by just their mothers, and they didn't really have a male in their life to really influence them and really teach them how valuable their yoni is and how valuable they are as a woman. Because I agree that the black woman is the closest thing on earth that we have to that divine feminine. But if the polarity is switched, she can be a detriment, because if you're saying that you're God, and if you switch that polarity around, because you know they say hell have no fury than a woman scorned, then the way I feel when it comes to this whole thing about the black woman is God, I agree with it. But I feel like that this knowledge that we're putting out here is more important to the women as well as the men, because the men need to understand, especially when it comes to things about the imprint and things like that, how a lot of this really isn't their fault, because they could be doing all that they feel like they should do, but if they can't break that imprint, it's still not gonna fully satisfy the woman. And also, the woman needs to know these paktis and these stories about Yin and Ya and Oshun and Oya, just so they can remember how powerful that divine feminine is.
For sure. The interesting thing about women is that before men even existed, the world was just filled with black women. So black women created polarity based upon boredom. Like, the mere fact that men exist, we're here to serve women. So now we're at a point where we don't understand polarity. Polarity can get to a point where there's one side and another side. There's a light side and it's a dark side. Now, if men are on the light side and women are on the dark side, then women are the void. They represent everything that's possible. Men can bring it to physical reality, but they have everything within them. So in their ignorance, in their absolute worst state, they still can still create a baby. Like so as men, we can only marvel at a woman. We can only, hope to spend time with one, like a beautiful woman. Like, a man wants that, the sensuality, and they don't want us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can want us if we exude a certain feminine energy, but if we sitting there doing push-ups and throwing rocks around all day, like, a woman can enter a room and just change the vibration. Like, you can see a man with a certain type of woman and just gain a whole different type of respect for that man just based on the woman that he's with. And he
You're right. And this is the main reason why I don't like this movement that's going on now, where you have women trying to compete with men. Or why are you trying to be like something that is beneath you? You should love how we, want to serenade you and how to do all this stuff, but no. In this
or for you, die for you, like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But it's
protect
like
you.
In this day and time, that's what we naturally would want to do to a woman as a man. That is, in this day and time, is looked at as weak. It's looked at as, oh, you simping, or you blue pill, oh, you pussy. Why you trying to do that? When you remember, going back to the Orishas, how did Shango prepare when he saw a cute girl or he saw somebody that he wanted to impress? Because I remember the Pakti about Yewa, and how she wasn't even supposed to lay eyes on the man. But it's just when she got in the presence of Shango, and even though Shango knew that he could get any woman that he wanted to, it talks about in the Pakti how Shango put on his best clothes. He did all these things to woo her and impress her, and in the end, he got her heart. But in 2018, if somebody was to do something like that, put on some nice clothes and get some roses and some flowers and do all this stuff, it's looked at as, all you corny.
You simping hard.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I just feel like it's a detriment. The reason for that is because I feel like that information hasn't been spoken about enough in not only the black community, but to black women. They're not taught to love that type of thing, or they're not taught to appreciate something like that.
But then it's another level to the deeper carnal, like you was talking about, the imprint, like, or even the Niagara pill. A woman is hornier than what she said. She's never going to tell you how horny she really is, or how freaky she is, or how nasty she is, because it's just not a part of her. Like, a normal everyday girl is going to have some dignity and self-respect. But the truth of the matter is, they may be freaked the hell out. You know what I'm saying? And part of it is being honest, and another part is you being mature enough to handle her energy, because when a woman gives you herself sexually, that's a submissive act.
And I remember, because you just touched on the reason why a woman may not give into that carnal, raw, sexual energy with a person is because of how they morally were raised, or how they morally think that they're supposed to do this or that or whatever. And I remember actually hearing Bobby Hemmitt talk about how when you're dealing with the dark energy, when you're dealing with that, there's no moral compass when it comes to it. If you get too much of that energy, it's like an uncontrollable type of thing, you know, just like a child. A child wants what a child wants. And if he or she don't get it, they're gonna be throwing a tantrum, full of chaos and all of that. Going back to the Orishas, when at that party that I was talking about, that Obatala threw when he separated from Yemaya, when Yemaya laid eyes on Agunju, there was no, hey, how you doing? What's your favorite color? What kind of job you got? What kind of Jordans you got on? What kind of car you drive? It wasn't that. It wasn't even really no talking involved. It wasn't no talking involved. It's like the minute they looked at each other, they already know what was about to go down.
In 2018, part of that is our fault as men, because we have been conditioned to be afraid of women. You understand what I'm saying?
Now I'm definitely gonna need you to expound on that one.
So I had this friend, and when I used to live in Massachusetts, when I was real young, I was fortunate to go to a club with him. And what happened that night, I never forget it, and I never lost it. When we went to the club, he hollered at every single girl in the club. Like, he had one object, get numbers. Some said no. A majority of the women said yes, because women like when you surround yourself with feminine energy. Now, if you are scared of feminine energy, then it's like a dog. Like a dog is if you afraid of a dog, then he gonna fuck with you. But if you like, get out of here or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's like a mind thing. And so with women, if you are not confident, have a understanding towards women that has nothing to do with women, it has everything to do with you. When you deal with a confidence within yourself, you shouldn't be afraid to talk to women, because one, you have something to say. You know what I'm saying? You're not afraid. You have a purpose in conversating. A lot of times a girl is receptive, but then it's like, and then she just tunes out, because it's like you don't want nothing. You just like all these other dudes. Just like probably spent an hour and a half getting dressed this much. She knows she look. You should be looking good too as a man. And then you should have a purpose. Like, if I see somebody, I have a purpose. I have a business card, and I have a wife. So I just love beautiful people. So I'll talk to a beautiful person because I just love beautiful people. So it's just a more of you just being confident and not afraid of women. Exactly. Because they don't bite. You know what I'm saying? It's just that just want to fuck. Excuse my language. And so that blocks us from relating to women, in my opinion. Like,
and I feel like a definite example of that is the rise of this Niagara Peel challenge. I know you heard about it because I remember you brought it up, and I remember we talked about it in another conversation. And I remember looking at the comments on the YouTube videos, and I remember how it was a lot of men. They was shocked. They was like, "Wow, I already know what they did after they cut the video off." They was like, "Wow, this is crazy. This how women act." And I was seeing the women, they were getting upset. They were like, "Oh, you shouldn't drug her, and this is rape and all this." Like, they was acting real negative. And my thing is, the way I felt about it was that the women were mad because this is like the closest thing that you would see to a woman's true nature. You know, when it comes to that raw sexual nature that a woman has that's unfiltered. Because a woman is, as a girl, she has that confidence, that unfiltered, you know, a child to say anything because they don't have that. They wasn't raised up to quote unquote know right from wrong just yet. But the more things that you're taught, now you have all these different layers. So little girls, they'll go and talk to anybody. They'll strike a conversation with a bum on the street,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have to go grab them like, no, get on back over here.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
you see that as they get older and older and older and older, they're taught to, okay, I like this person, but I'm programmed to think that if he got on some nice Jordans, or if he got a Lexus or a BMW or Audi or something like that, he must have money. Or if he got this, or if he looked like that, or if he light skinned, or if he got dreads, or all of this stuff.
But
Because
then
it's a society.
But to your point, like that's something later. Like a girl would go for a guy like that for like dating, but not for marriage. Like for marriage, they look for something totally different. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of it, I'm telling you, for fellas, is about shooting your shot, because I know plenty of beautiful women with average dudes, and that's what she go for, because society say one thing. And you know, with women, they always have phases, so they gonna go through them phases. They gonna try that, and the only thing that really, like with anything in life, you gotta go that road. So if society say you gotta be with a dude with money, a woman gonna go through that path. She gonna get a dude with money, and that relationship ain't gonna last long, and she'll be right back to her broke dude that's selling dope in the hood. And
That
you be
loved
like,
her.
well, why is you with him? That imprint, bro. That imprint is powerful. But you gotta shoot your shot. When you get your shot, you tear that shit. You go to ham on that. Everything that you can do. You turn her eye. You know what I'm saying? You make sweet love to her for hours, and you make sure that she ain't never been loved like that before. You understand?
Exactly. And my thing is with this stuff. And my thing is with this stuff that we're on, especially if you're a person that listens to all of these metaphysical teachers and stuff like that, and then you get a little bit deeper into it, and you learn about tantra, and you learn about all these things to where you can make a woman orgasm without even penetrating at all. Like you can give a girl a massage, energy massage, and make her reach orgasm. Like little stuff like that. It's like stuff that you're not gonna find in an average dude.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And it's like once a woman gets a taste of that, it's not gonna be the same.
It's a wrap, bro. Like that, she yours for life. So, you know, man, like I smell a girl's hair, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm hair, man. You understand? And I'm not even joking. Like, you know, it's that intense. But it's from studying and knowledge and really understanding that we've been having sex all wrong. Like we think that, you know, ejaculating in a woman. Do you know that that's like the most nastiest, unsanitary thing you can do? So it's like, you know, dude, like I be telling girls about this, and she like, well, my dude, he ain't gonna go for that. He gotta, and I'm just like, well, shit, man. He worked damn blue balls, you know. That shit, like, get over that shit. Like we as men, we gotta be stronger sexually. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Like we can't just be ejaculating and then going to sleep. That right there tell you that we need to educate ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Conscious. Like, you know, we get this information down. We'll walk down the street. You know, I was walking down the street today. I felt good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna lie, I felt good. Like just walking. I ain't have no Benz on. I ain't have no Jordans, but I felt good. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's all that matters, because I done did everything that society said I should do, and I didn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? Or I was spending all my money, all my resources with nothing to show for it, and maybe I got a girl's number or something like that. So ultimately doing that work, like the sexual energy work and really abstaining from ejaculation, like, you know what I'm saying? That's important. But how many men, how many times have you had this conversation? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And how many men like that do you think that these women out here, most of them, have came across?
None. Zero. First one.
Just like shout out to Steve Dean Williams, one of the things that he said was, when you have, just like what I was saying, when you have a good enough imprint on a woman, you can set her free. You can let her go, see can she find something better, And for the most part, she won't. Because if you come in with your,
Sure, I dare.
if
I dare. I dare. I dare.
if you
Like,
come
I
in,
dare you.
especially if
Go
you're
ahead.
original with yours, and you're learning yourself and you know yourself and you giving her certain things that only you can give her. That's what's powerful. And I remember in our conversation earlier, you was talking about how you see average guys with good looking women. And then I remember in the conversation, we was talking about pimps and all of that, and how even as a man, if you can learn how to not only tap into that and learn how to control that feminine, that sexual energy that we have, and be able to spot that in a woman, you won't have any problems with women like that. Because that energy, once that energy is let out, it's a very uncontrollable, you can't bottle it up. Once it's out, it's very uncontrollable. And my example of that was in regards to that Niagara challenge, because I wanted to see it on a deeper level. So, you know, I like to do a little research, if you know what I mean. And I remember I came across these videos of these clinical trials of these estrogen pills that these doctors, it was like a heightened estrogen type pill. And I remember when these women would take this pill, because they would sign some paperwork and the doctor would say that any reactions that you have to this will be filmed and all of that, because it was a clinical trial. And when these women took those pills and their sexual energy got up to that peak and they started sweating and moving all around like, oh, I'm feeling real hot. Oh, they just got like super like dainty and feminine. And I remember when the doctor was like, oh, okay, so it looks like everything is working. You can go back home to your partner and you can show him how it worked or whatever. And most of those women was damn near trying to fuck the doctor. The women was like, shit, what's going on with you right now? What's up with you? Oh, I don't think I can make it home. I want to do something with you. And and the thing about it was, a few of the women did end up having sex with the doctor, and a lot of them had husbands, and they had partners, they had boyfriends, they had husbands, and they was like, oh, I just can't control it. And I remember how at the
can you handle the fact that, can I ask you a question? What's the most difficult thing about like being with a woman and wondering if she may go astray or find somebody new? How do you deal with that as a man?
And that question that you just asked is something that I feel like should be taught to men, to us men at an early age, because a lot of men don't know how to deal with rejection. A lot of men don't know how to deal with that type of situation, so they act out of emotion, which garners violence and stuff like that. Because when we're not taught about something logically, we start to emotionally internalize it. So to answer your question, thinking about it in a holistic way, but at the end of the day, just like Alpha Male Strategy say, if you have an abundance mindset and you know that there's plenty of other women out here that you can get, I'm not going to say that you're not going to be mad, because any person, especially if you've been with a woman for some odd, months or years or something like that, you got a soul tie, you got an emotional connection with that woman. So I'm not saying that you're not going to be mad about it, but it's not going to be to the point where you're going to cause that woman any harm. Because going back to that Bhakti about Oya and Shango, Oya initiated that. She initiated, and at the end of the day, Ogun really couldn't be mad. You can't be mad at how they feel regarding that, because it goes back to the imprint. But it's something that I feel like should be taught. It should be taught. It's not.
I feel like we talked about this earlier, that when you don't leave an imprint, or they scatter around, but ultimately when you don't pay them any attention, right, then they'll be more attracted, as opposed to do give them the attention. So it's like how can you have it both ways?
Yeah.
Then if you want to be sweet to her and that repels her, but if you was on some pimp stuff, then she be always trying to figure out how she can be down with. So like the only solution to that is to be the best man you possibly can be. Don't worry about this shit. That's my only solution to that scenario. Because it's like, if I show you all of this love and attention, you're going to be calling me a simp and a lame. And if I do some old wild stuff, like have a other relationship, it's going to drive you crazy. So let me just not focus on none of that and just let me focus on me. And so that works for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I can't focus on a grown person. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that love has to be something that they feel inside of them for me. Because I love you regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like a man's love, we'll love a girl that work at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? But can a woman love a dude that work at McDonald's?
And it's the thing,
you know,
if that's what she was programmed, if she was programmed to not look at the materialistic aspect, but to focus more on that emotional connection, then you could have a situation like that.
It happens.
But a lot of times, a lot of the women in this generation, they don't fall into that mindset until they're a lot older. And unlike Yemaya, unlike Yemaya, who every single relationship that she got in after Obatala, it was a quality relationship. Like every guy that she got with taught her something. So when it was time for her to make that cycle, and her and Obatala, aka Orisha Oko, got back together, she was a lot more wiser. She was just a totally different, transformed person. And they went on to be the most beautiful love story of all time when it comes to that religion. But these women in 2018, they're not taught that how to protect and to cherish their yoni, and about how every relationship that you get in with a man, if it's not a quality relationship, you're carrying that baggage, that emotional baggage, to the next man. So now the next man is dealing with previous relationship problems. It's not his fault that he should have to go through that, but it's just something that hasn't been taught. So with a lot of women today, it's the opposite. They go out and get with a whole bunch of ain't shit guys. Their walls is all messed up on the inside. They got all this emotional baggage. They may have kids and all of this stuff. So now when they're at that age where they're supposed to be older and wiser and seasoned, because you got to remember, a woman's sexual drive gets more intense the older she gets versus men. So now she's at that sexual peak where now she's ready to look for a husband and all of that, but she's not only is she emotionally stopped up, all these negative relationships and stuff like that, spiritually she's unbalanced, and physically she's unbalanced. And a lot of guys that are of quality, they're not going to necessarily go for that type of person.
We're referring to Patakis, and we can reference the Pataki of Oba and Oya and her journey. Like, sometimes, like, relationships, they're supposed to be shitty. They're supposed to be horrible. You're supposed to learn a lot from them. They're supposed to be dirty, because every pathwork has every Orisha has a particular path. And some of those paths, they can get particularly dirty and musty and stinky. So I say that to say that, I've been in some shitty relationships, but it don't really matter when you're conscious, because our mind is powerful. Like, so even me, I was a point in time where I didn't have no confidence, and I exuded that. And now if I have confidence, I'll exude that now. Like later in my life, as I get older, a little bit more wiser, like I'm using my mind, I'm restoring my body, I'm restoring shit. So it's like, it's part of life to go through bad relationships, because that is how we learn, honestly. Like, the darkness sets it up for the light. So it's like, you ever notice how rich kids will commit suicide, but a poor person who had their money couldn't imagine killing themselves? The reason for that is because everybody, when you're born, you have challenges. So Black people think that our challenges is money, but even if we had money, we still have challenges. So it's important that we understand how to deal with challenges, instead of thinking that looking for shit to cover over the shit that, like, internally we just might have to deal with. And so part of our journey might be horrible relationships. Now, I know my friends that probably got together when they was in high school, they still together, they happy. They didn't have that journey. Me, It wasn't like that. And then, other people have different journeys. Some people have rape journeys. Some people have molestation journeys. Some people have human trafficking journeys. You understand what I'm saying? So we just have to really understand that, our particular path may be something that we need to learn from. And it could be worse and it could be better, but, understanding that our mind is powerful is really key in this whole matrix thing.
Definitely, and I definitely agree with that. All right, man. So I want you to tell everybody where they can get your information and where they can find you on your social medias and things like that, where they can get your products from and how they can get readings from you and natal charts and things
I
like
appreciate that. I'm located in Columbus, Ohio. I do readings out of a shop out here, the Spirit of Tipperary. That's 1235 West Broad. But, if you're not in the Columbus, Ohio area, or if you are in the Columbus, Ohio area, all over the world, man, because that's where this gets sent out to. You can hit me up at hoodmystic@gmail.com. The website is www.hoodmystic.com. And so I'm on Instagram, the Hood Mystic, YouTube. You can just Google Hood Mystic, Hood Mystic Astrology. And if you're interested in natal readings and things of that nature, make sure you email me first. Ask about the reviews. I'm gonna show you the reviews first because that's where I want you to focus on, because I want you to feel confident, because I know you ain't used to seeing a young black astrologer. So I gotta recondition the mind and kind of set you to where, because me personally, I've been dealing with this thing for a long time. I've known it, for basically 20 years. I've been studying astrology. I'm young too. I'm 33, so I've been studying astrology since I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, 33 is a real good number. Cause see, I've been getting into numerology since 2016. So that's another path that I'm embarking on. Looking at the spirituality of numbers and things like that. But cool, man. And also for me, my Instagram, BandClap TV, as you know, Melia Mar Jewelry and Gemstones. Always got the stones going on. And you can go to my Instagram page, which is Shop Melia Mar, and I'll have all of that information below. I'll have Hood Mystics information below. And man, this was a real dope convo. I hope this won't be the last one that we have.
Now, I was gonna say we gotta do this again, bro, because I like to talk, man. We're gonna have to see how this one go, man, because we really talked on some stuff. I'm gonna have to listen to this one back, bro. Well, it's been fun, man. You have a good night, bro.
All right, you too, man. This BandClap TV, we out.